everyone, I am Macfarlane42, your favorite YouTube harpy, and in a day and age where we are talking about so much bad TV and bad entertainment, I love talking about the Orville because it is one of the best shows that I'm watching right now. I'm really impressed by it. They keep just knocking it out of the park. Every episode is actually good. And this episode's not nearly as good as like last week's. This episode we're talking about is season 2, episode 10, Blood of Patriots. I'll give you a quick kind of spoiler-free sort of score and reaction here real quick. And then we'll get into full spoilers later on in the video. I like this episode quite a bit. It's probably going to be around a 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10. It was a little predictable, but it was predictable in a way that even like the people on the ship kind of are like, oh, something's up, something's not right. And that is okay with me. That is okay. This really reminded me of a Next Generation episode. You know, you've got it's a continuation kind of a lot of the things that they've set up with the Krill. And they brought in a guest star that, you know, I'll get more into the spoiler section, that I kind of like seeing on screen, not gonna lie. It was a really interesting episode. It was a really interesting way to kind of take some of the heavier themes, like something like Deep Space Nine. You know, and they kind of set up some of these a little, you know, it's kind of like the ugly side of war episode of, yeah, well, sometimes war makes people not the best people out there sometimes. And I love that they kind of did more of a sort of, it's almost a character study of this guest star on the show. Almost, it was really, really interesting and really good. It was a nice chance to see a lot of competent people on this ship. Tala, great. I really like her. I really enjoy her. I like her as much as I liked Alara. They're very different people, but they're both very, very good at their jobs. And they don't feel like they just swapped one out for the other. I mean, they're very much very much their own sort of unique characters. Even though if this were still Alara, the old security girl that we had last season, I think it still would have played out pretty similar. But yeah, all in all, probably a 7.5 out of 10, maybe 8. It's not nearly a 10 out of 10 like last week. It was really good though. I really enjoyed it, and my biggest issue was watching it I was watching on my browser on Hulu because I had to watch stupid Captain SJW Flatass last night, which it kind of, I think some of that tarnished my view of this episode. You know, if you guys watch it, try not to watch it in your browser. I'm so exhausted lately. I was watching it in the browser instead of thinking, oh, I should just watch it on my app on Hulu. But no, I had to watch it on the computer the day after because I've been watching them live as they air. And I think that has something to do with why it's only about a 7.5 out of 10, because I was kind of not in the... I was annoyed at Captain Marvel because I missed the Orville. and I had to watch it on Hulu the next day. So that probably does affect the score. And I hate being that way, but you know, your experiences will affect your score. This episode might not be as even as low as I'm scoring it. It's still a really, really well done episode. Great guest stars for the most part. I think that's the other reason I took a point down. We had a credit pop up on screen, and I kept looking for him in the whole episode. Robin Atkin Downes is in this episode, and if you guys don't know who he is, he was Byron on Babylon 5, I believe, and he does like the voice of, you know, the president character in all the Saints Row games. I was looking for him. I didn't see him in this. I didn't even hear him in this, so I don't know if he was just like under a bunch of makeup or what. Really, really, it was a really interesting episode though, and there was a lot of... There were some fun moments, there were some interesting moments, and they're just so competent. Everybody in this ship is competent, and I love that about it. So yeah, probably 7.5 out of 10, maybe even 8 if I was in a better mood watching it. Now on to the full spoilers, so if you don't want to know, close your ears. This episode, basically, the Orville are sent to Krill space to kind of negotiate it's like a first step in sort of a ceasefire, and it's almost like a peace treaty. It's basically a, hey, we don't want to like kill each other anymore. Just sort of a ceasefire. They're kind of off in the first stage of it. So Admiral Ted Danson sends Ed Mercer, because when you think about it, Ed has had the most dealings probably with the Krill between, and they even mention it. You and Gordon snuck on the Krill ship. You had this relationship with this Krill female who, had disguised herself as a human crew member. Ed does have a pretty good rapport with the Krill. So he is kind of the perfect person to send. It is an ambassadorial mission. It's a lot of heavy, talky, stuff here and there. This episode opens with a really great shot, though. Yaphet gets a medal from Ed Mercer. Yaphet gets a medal for basically doing a huge contribution to save the ship last episode. Continuity. Oh my god. You know it's a bad thing in a day and age where you have to applaud continuity on your show from one episode to another. This isn't even a show that's really serialized with an overarching plot, but this makes sense way better than Discovery with episode to episode. I have not seen this Telosian episode of Discovery yet, full disclosure. This is probably why I'm not ripping into it more, but I'm just kind of going, or at least ripping into Discovery more on the Orville review. They have continuity, and they have callbacks, and they have, hey, remember this thing that we set up 3 episodes ago? That's what I love about this. So they go into Krill space. They also end up seeing a Krill fighter pilot just going nuts. They beam the guy aboard. It turns out it's a human. Not only is it a human, it's a guy Gordon knows. And I keep looking at this person, this actor, I know this person. I know this. Who is this? I know this guy. Who is this guy? I had to go look it up on IMDb because I'm an idiot. Mackenzie Aston. Holy 1980s. Yeah, so hello microphone. They brought in Mackenzie Aston to be a guest star in this, and if you guys don't know who that is, brother of Sean Astin, son of Patty Duke. If you're an 80s person, you probably saw him on Facts of Life and the Garbage Pail Kid movie and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I'm an 80s kid. I was a kid in the 80s. This is what sometimes these things mess with my mind. Even seeing Gordon on this ship, because he was a kid actor in the 80s too, and I remember seeing him all over the place in the 80s. It just messes with your mind seeing people grown up that you saw as kids when you were a kid, right? But anyway, he actually does a really good job. He's playing basically a guy who was in a prison camp for 20 years. His wife was killed, and he's there with his daughter. And she's crazy. She doesn't speak. She doesn't say anything. She's super introverted. She doesn't want anyone to scan her or treat her or do any medical tests or anything. This will come back. And this is so good. They kind of, everything that's in the episode has a payoff. There's it's so nice. It's so nice. So basically, they're out there trying to, the Orville's out there trying to talk this sort of ceasefire, they're negotiating the early stages of this peace treaty. But Mackenzie Aston is on there saying, no, these guys are awful. These guys are horrible. Hey, Gordon, let's go and steal a ship and go and kill them all. And Gordon has such a great moment in this episode. This is kind of like Gordon's moment to kind of like the episode where Riker had to go against his old captain who was doing all kinds of illegal shit, and he had to figure out, okay, do I tell Captain Picard? Do I not tell Captain Picard? That is what Gordon had to deal with in this episode. There's so many great nods to Trek in this. It felt like a Next Generation episode. I love that. I love that so much. So basically, Gordon ends up he does end up going to Tala. She also is like, okay, something's fishy, something's wrong here, but she can't put her finger on it. This is why I like Tala. She's like, no, this seems too good. Why is he sneaking around? Why is Mackenzie Aston sneaking around here? Why is he in here doing all this stuff? I can't remember the character name. Why is he in the ship sneaking around? He's not stealing anything, and basically he's stealing. You guys have been to the bank drive-thrus 20 years ago where they have those little tube things that you can stick your, that's what he's stealing on the ship. They're basically containers or something, but that's what it looks like. That's the prop that they're using on this. we find out that so he wants Gordon to help him steal a ship. Gordon's like, I don't want to do this, but I have to tell somebody. So he does tell the security chief at least, and they make a plan, and you don't really see the plan. You don't see them planning, but you can figure it out as you go. Like, oh, okay, now this is okay. She's in on it. He ends up shooting Tala to get out with Mackenzie Aston. Like, Gordon actually shoots Tala, and it's such an interesting way of doing this. So we find out that the girl isn't the daughter. She's actually this alien whose blood is like super explosive, and Tala finds that out too. And Claire even comes in and she's like, oh shit, I know exactly about this species. We're gonna have to seal off the quarters because once their blood becomes active with the air, it's gonna blow up. So amazing and interesting of like a species, and this is how we find out that how this guy is actually destroying a bunch of Krill ships, how Mackenzie Aston is, because that's what they want. They want him to be handed over to the Krill because he's blowing up Krill ships. He's like a war criminal, sort of like a terrorist or something. So they want him to be turned over, and they're like, we can't though. He just broke out of a krill. We can't. So they have like they're doing everything they can. They're doing stalling tactics. They're doing anything they can to buy time to figure this out because they're smart people and they don't act impulsively like Discovery and like every goddamn idiot on Discovery. Sorry to get super vulgar and brutal on Discovery, but no, Discovery is a ship filled with fucking idiots. Seriously, not one person is competent there. The Orville, every person on that ship is competent and amazing and awesome. There's even a great Dan moment in this, and I gotta give a shout out. Dan's like, goes to a random crew member who's speaking a complete alien language. So awesome. He's like, hey, I want to do Casual Friday. Can we come in maybe into a t-shirt? Or I don't know if he meant Casual Friday. He wants a casual day. That's kind of like a little sub-conversation that's going on in the background or in the sidelines. It's kind of great. It just shows that people live on this ship and work on this ship. It just brings such life to it. I love that about the Orville. So, back to the actual plot of the episode. Gordon does end up taking a shuttle with Mackenzie Aston, and he doesn't know what's up, but he's like, okay, well, I have a plan. They know where I'm at. The Orville knows where I'm at. They put a tracker on the shuttle, even though Mackenzie Aston thinks that Gordon's actually helping him. He's really not. They just want to see what's up. They want to know, okay, how is he doing it? Then they realize, oh, because this girl who blew herself up, that's how he did it. He's going to go blow them up with her blood. Nice. Great. We need to stop him. And yeah, Gordon has a real sort of moment that a lot of people will have. You'll find out that somebody you knew is not the same person you knew 20 years ago. And he had that moment, and I love that about him. There's moments where he and Ed bond a little more as their little just their friendship. You don't need any sexual subtext in any of this stuff. You don't need representation and all this. No, they're just friends. And I love that. I love pretty much everything about this episode. So yeah, Gordon's on the shuttle with Mackenzie Aston, and Mackenzie Aston decides to blow it up, and Gordon gets into a little space suit, and he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go off into space. Screw ya, I'm out of here. The shuttle blows up, and of course the Orville comes in, and they actually beam him up, or they tractor beam him up. This is a good episode, and of course they give the little peace, or they start their little peace treaty sort of pre-negotiation-y stuff. This is a Star Trek episode. This is absolutely something like was out of Next Generation. Yeah, and maybe I'm only giving it a 7.5 because yes, I have seen pretty much the same type of episode in other science fiction stuff and franchises, especially Next Generation. But you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with seeing a similar type of story. The alien blood stuff was new. It was certainly more plausible than they give more of a scientific explanation than having paint that can record conversations, like Star Trek Discovery. Oh my god, I totally forgot about that one from episode 3 of Discovery. Yeah. Did you guys see this episode? Did you like this episode? Yeah, I'm gonna stick with a 7.5 out of 10 because it was a little predictable. I liked the acting in it. I liked the special effects. I like the visuals. I like how the characters are written. There's some great dramatic moments. There's some great, there's some great people moments. And yeah, there's some great there's just great stuff in this episode. Go watch the Orville if you're a fan of Next Generation or Stargate sort of stuff. Firefly even. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will try my best to watch Discovery. I don't know if I'm going to watch it with you guys or if I'm going to watch it offline because of Captain Marvel, the whole week's been kind of thrown off a little bit. But thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys on the next video or live stream. Bye! Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!